All right, it is currently 10:46 in the morning. As you can see, it's 10:46 a.m. And this is same time of year, same exact time analysis. And what you're looking at here is the address is 2301 South Euclid Avenue in Ontario, California. You can look it up on Google Maps. You can Google ecological addresses. You can look up the movement of the sun, how the sun does not remain stationary over one address all day long. You can look that up for yourself. You're understanding what is, again, insurmountable evidence of what is recognition of a highly malicious and demonic system. And it is recognized through the environment. And this is where an entity is engaging what is terrorism, using helicopters to stalk somebody and then further harass and intimidate while you are exposed, engaging that, which is ongoing evidence against not just that police department, not just that sheriff's department, but the whole state of California. And so at 10:46 in the morning, I want you to see where I'm at. I'm in Los Angeles, where you have the entity engaging what is group stalking in plain sight. This is a federal offense, all right? That goes against the whole entity. It's documented impunity and malice while the entity is amplifying helicopter activity. You're analyzing every element that's underway. And that's also recognizing the very highly threatening and deranged mind state of stalking someone in plain sight. The demon-possessed engagement in the criminal elements monitoring is not a secret. And they're also aware of the fact that you're documenting it, and they persist to engage in stalking you. Those are the ones that are going to be subject to mental examinations. And there is no respecter of age. You will go to federal prison like any other third party. So this is the light source that's over me at 10:46 in the morning, and this is where I'm at, same time of year, at 2301 South Euclid Avenue, and you're looking at state actors. This is the Ontario Fire Department, group stalking. The light source, how do you recognize the targeting conduct? Because the light source is right over my head at 2301 South Euclid Avenue at the same exact time. I want to be clear, the Ontario hotel where I'm at, Economy Inn, this is as I stated before, this is a roof. You can see the roof. It's restricted with regard to my ability to see the sky space. I'm only facing what is the freeway. I can't see the whole sky space. So in the same way, you're looking at what is the direction east while I'm at 1810 North Alvarado Street. And at the end of the day, that is 8 hours from now, 10 hours from now, the entity keeps the light source in alignment to my bedroom, but at the end of the workday, the light source is right here. But you have on, at the same time of year, at the same time while LAPD is doing circles around me, amplifying that activity, doing so with simultaneity to what I'm exposing, showing what is ongoing terrorism and stalking conduct by a government in the United States. This is the light source, which what I want to remind you about, because these state actors are the ones that are exercising fictitious authority, that are abusing their positions, using fire trucks and ambulances and police vehicles to engage in the elements of monitoring light activity, amplified audible activity while they're stalking somebody. And you recognize the targeting environment through the, you recognize the target individual through the environment and the ongoing concerted conduct of that entity. This address, 2301 South Euclid Avenue, the entity was engaging in obsessive stalking and helicopter as well. Okay, flying over my apartment by commercial airline planes as well. Doing so with simultaneity to what I do on a communication device as well. Documented both on podcast and in videos and in images. And I'm capturing the entity engaging in group stalking at 10:46 in the morning.
This is P.O.C. They're all just loading a relevant position. This is the Sheriff's Department. This is the state by AMR. This is the state by Ontario Fire Department. That is a psychopath, a sex offender, and a demon-possessed group stalker.
And you saw it because engineer lights moving across the ground while a demon is opening a door while the sun is above you. That's not even the sun. It's not possibly the sun while it's hovering over me in an entirely different region. Okay, 2301 South Euclid Avenue and 1810 North Alvarado Street, not the same sky space. And it's not the sun that LAPD is flying repeatedly over while they're doing laps over my office. This is documentation of terrorism in the state of California. And the highly demon-possessed law enforcement agencies in this country, in California, are stalking American citizens. That's what the world needs to know. They're stalking American citizens using helicopters, threatening your life, doing so with the intent to intimidate you and with the willful, again, reasonably construed to be intending to take your life. The entity is already engaged in what is kidnapping, making up information because they're mad that I'm documenting them. And the entity then avoided justice by evading service of process when I brought my suit against the state of California. And these are demons that are abusing that position in an unnatural, that is a demonic environment where the sun is not possibly, not only is this not the sun, as I'm showing it at 10:46, the entity engaged in what is keeping the light source all day long as though the sun is also setting at that address. And that's exactly the pattern of conduct that I'm documenting here in California, here at the Los Angeles at 1810 North Alvarado Street. This is the light source that's here. It's in my living room window in the morning, and it's right here when I get off of work after 5 p.m. and in my bedroom window after 6 p.m. That's not the sun, and it makes no provision for the sun to be over the hotel room, specifically over my head at 2301 South Euclid Avenue in Ontario, California. That's the environment where demons are pacing back and forth. Exhibit A. All right, that's demonic pacing. Okay, just flying back and forth, and that's a psychopath who is outraged by the fact that I'm exposing them and continuously doing so because of the entity's threat to your life, because Satan, acting through a corrupt law enforcement agency, refuses to sit down and have a seat and engage in ongoing the fact that you see them, the fact that you hear them is a threat to your life. In the specific environment, they're monitoring you, they're keeping you under surveillance, and there is no constitutional basis for it at all, nor do they have a right to do it through Jung Pak, who sits in your face and monitors you in plain sight. Everybody's going to federal prison for that. It is no small thing where the entity is keeping you under surveillance. Like I said, this entity engages in killing people and then covering it up, making up a narrative, which is very easily accomplished when you have a corrupt law enforcement agency that's going to investigate it. When you have a corrupt law enforcement agency that conducts the autopsy and gives you the explanation for it. When you have a corrupt law enforcement agency that's then providing the false narrative to the courts, all right, if there is even any sort of litigation after the fact. And then you have the people of the state reporting the news to you about it. You've got the people of the state giving you false information about what happened or about the targeted individual on the news. All right, that's that matter of corruption. That's that intolerable conduct. I want to remind you of something. Not only is it 10:46 in the morning, is this specific environment over me speaking to what are state actors engaging in stalking via the Los Angeles Police Department right now. I want to show you at 10:48 in the morning. That's the same time right now. It's 10:52. The entity is maintaining the light source over me, again, in an entirely different location. Not only at 2301 South Euclid Avenue is that not possibly the sun. It's also not going to be the sun hovered directly over my head in its zenith like this while I'm at my hotel room at 2301 South Euclid Avenue at 10:46, and then 2 minutes later, it's also over my head 2 minutes later at 10:48 in the morning at 450 North Euclid Avenue in Upland, California. Because, by the way, the documentation shows that I'm already at that address, the Upland Public Library, as early as 7:50 in the morning. That makes no provision for the sun to ever be over a hotel room over my head, coincidentally, and also remaining there for the duration of the day, which is why you document. That's why you document Satan, because Satan is a liar. Satan is an obsessed psychopath. Satan is so psychotic and has so little self-control that it continues to provide evidence against all the people who are going to be prosecuted, including Waste Management. That's who you hear engaging in amplified audible activity. Let me be clear, down to the work schedule, I will prosecute every demon that's facilitating this criminal system. This is a threat to your life. American citizens will not be subject to this without somebody paying the price. And it's not going to be a mysterious somebody. There are literally a way, and let me be clear, the federal government has every tool at its disposal to narrow down any and everybody that's going to pay the penalty, because it's criminal facilitation by psychopaths who are literally flying in circles, flying back and forth in helicopter around me, and they know exactly where I'm at and what I'm doing, and you know that through the light activity. And there is no sun that's going to be over the Upland Public Library at 10:48 in the morning at the same time. And let me remind you again, the state acting in group stalking again at the public library. This entity also stalking by helicopter the Upland Police Department, engaging in kidnapping both the Upland Police Department and the San Bernardino Sheriff's Department, kidnapping while they're keeping me under surveillance, and you recognize the targeting through the unnatural environment. That's not possibly the sun that's over my head, as I'm showing you at 10:48 in the morning in Upland, California, San Bernardino County, and also while I am at the remaining here in Los Angeles. You're looking at this light source right here. This is not over the Upland Public Library. This is not rocket science. Okay, this is the pattern of conduct. Let me show you the pattern of conduct of the San Bernardino Sheriff's Department, demon-possessed group stalkers, heavily documented, engaging in multiple acts of kidnapping. And let me be clear, by badge number, by name, by image, they're going to federal prison.
This is the pattern of conduct, and
that's the light source over me, over my head at Upland Public Library at 450 North Euclid Avenue, where, by the way, even right now at this time, documented maintenance of presence inside of that Upland Public Library, which I gave you examples of even over the weekend while LAPD was flying over my apartment. And I'm showing you on that day in 2022. Remember that, all of that, that's why you document, because it's already captured what the entity was doing in an unnatural environment, okay? While it's keeping it over my head and over my apartment Saturdays and Sundays. But when I'm at work, it's moving from my apartment to the office, back to the apartment, and setting in alignment to my apartment. The entity is maintaining a light source, and this is the state documented engaging in group stalking at 10:48 in the morning.
Source that is right over me, again, not already present, which would be the case as I documented at 9:27 a.m., which would be 10:27 a.m. if you want to include.
What I want you to pay attention to is the passive-aggressive stalker. That's the demon-possessed, the psychopath. This is called congregating. They're in relevant position. You can look at the direction of their shadows. The light source is hovering directly above me. They are in relevant position. And the entity, this is also the same venue where the entity engages in terrorism by helicopter, which I also documented. The entity doing so while this light source is documented, remaining at that same location at 6:32. Remember, I just documented that just the other day. I walk out of the building of that library and the light source, it's not the sun that would be at on the same street. okay, at 6:32 in the afternoon when you're looking at it there at 10:48 in the morning. This is the demon possessed who engage in this as though they're concerned with something else, as though they're doing something else, and you are mindful of the elements of monitoring. That's what concerns, and that's how you're going to prosecute Satan. Satan is a liar and a desperate one, a psychotic one. This is revealing the mental illness of those that are targeting you and seeking to do so in the highest malicious manner. But it is, let me be clear, very obvious when you have demons flying circles around you in helicopter. The Los Angeles Police Department has created an unprecedented means of what is ongoing corroboration against the whole state of California. Not that I even needed it, because when I'm documenting the demons of the I am documenting the Los Angeles Sheriff's Department while I'm getting the San Bernardino Sheriff's Department, by the way. It's the same entity. But what I meant to say is the San Bernardino Sheriff's Department, this is not the natural environment. These are psychopaths that want to, they're consumed in a conversation, they're monitoring. You recognize the targeting conduct through the maintenance of the environment. And when those demons leave, you document the maintenance of that unnatural environment. You document that directed light. You document that ongoing demonic behavior by the entity in that environment. Oh, the sunset also at that same address. That's how you know what these demons are doing.
Congregated under the light source, and the light source is not here pursuant to what will be a consistent schedule on maintenance of the actual sun, as we're told, this ongoing orbit of this light source, the engagement in what is maintaining presence over me in direct conflict with where it is as I document it, and it's also not relative to remaining present over all those places. No, it's not hovering over me at the Fontana Lewis Library right now. It is in Upland, California, as it has remained, and no way moving north over the 10 freeway over any vehicle, let alone the Omnitrans, through the window of that bus as I showed you, while I'm en route to the city of Fontana.
What I want you to pay attention to is the conduct of the demon possessed. This is a sheriff. This is representing the state, and this is the entity. This particular officer is going to federal prison. She engaged in kidnapping, exercising fictitious authority. This is a demon who is engaging in a conversation which is relevant positioning and activity creation in the specific environment, and the demon possessed want to appear outwardly as though they're consumed with something else, and this is how they're targeting you. Remember, I want you to imagine in your mind the demon possessed who are not even holding hands. They're standing in a circle around you, surrounding you, but they're keeping their back to you, and you're looking at the light source that remains over you. You're looking at the circus of lights that's all around you, while the demon possessed are just not looking at you. That's what group stalking is. It's entirely demented conduct, and it's a matter of public corruption. This is the people of the state and the state group stalking together under the light source, which is nowhere near Alvarado Gardens in Los Angeles, California, at the same time, where, by the way, this light source is remaining until the end of the day, which is a matter of documentation. That's why you document. Okay, this is the light source again. This is the I want you to see the San Bernardino Sheriff's Department.
Engaged in bathroom monitoring. It was an act of criminal summoning while the fake sun was over the roof of the Upland Public Library, which again, at no time will it ever be, as I'm showing you.
I'm speaking to the fact that
being documented right now.
That's the San Bernardino Sheriff's Department, group stalking. This is San Bernardino County. That's the state of California, group stalking. And this is the Upland Police Department, group stalking. Talking to what are third-party group stalkers. These are the same minions that are here group stalking. And in other words, it's June Puck. They're talking to Jung Puck, who's group stalking with the state. That's a specific environment, stalking with the state in your face. Okay, you're not in any way less threatening because you're smiling and because you're talking to the people of the state. This is how you're recognizing the threat. It's in the environment, and the entity is stalking in unfounded ways, and the entity acts with great viciousness and aggression where it thinks it's getting away with something. Okay, this is how I'm able to document an entity kidnapping me multiple times, making up information even about my mental health multiple times when I haven't even ever had a conversation with those demons. I'm not a fool. I didn't talk to them. They kidnapped me. We never had one conversation. They made it up, made up things that I did, made up diagnoses, had people write up reports and giving it to these courts. Kara Hudson's going to federal prison. Okay, the entity is engaging in what is criminal defamation while they're keeping you under surveillance, and they're acting in concert with these law enforcement agencies who, by the way, I want to be clear, these are demons. Second of all, they're engaged in state surveillance of the most psychotic method you can fathom. It's very, very malicious. Okay, and it is designed to engage in what is falsely depicting the target individual as suffering from some mental capacity, but it is unpersuasive. It's actually ineffective. You just have not ever heard someone actually break down their criminal system for you, because it in no way is reflecting or demonstrative of any sort of demented mind state. It, in fact, to the contrary, it's revealing the demented mind state of that entity that's flying in circles around me, okay? That's revealing the mental illness of that law enforcement agency. That's revealing their mental illness. This is the pattern of conduct. This is not over the Upland Public Library, nor is it over 2301 South Euclid Avenue, which as a matter of documentation, look at the time. It's 11:01. This video is 14 minutes long. I captured this at 10:46 in the morning, 10:48 in the morning. This is the ongoing timeline. And this is where the entity engaged in keeping a light source over me. These are state actors engaging in that criminal system. All right, that's the P.O.C. And that same entity is acting to date, the Los Angeles Police Department engaging in ongoing group stalking, while they are also engaged in what is federal stalking on the venue of the internet, engaging in what is this criminal system with real-time knowledge of everything that I am doing, group stalking. And again, this is the ongoing evidence of that. This is the entity that is group stalking while I'm inside of my apartment, doing so by helicopter. The moment that I upload a video to the internet, crossing path, audible activity
was
creation.
the soundtrack while that demon was in the parking lot, sitting there with the truck with the light activity and you can see the timestamp.
Doing laps around my apartment with simultaneity to what I'm doing on the internet. This is federal stalking while they're engaged in criminal monitoring. That's group stalking.
On my Google Drive, I just uploaded that video. Those are the mentally ill and demon-possessed law enforcement agency, the Los Angeles Police Department. They are the template for what is wrong with the law enforcement agencies that are entrenched. They're entrenched in what is demon possession, engaging in what is America's group stalking, and federal stalking on the venue of the internet, engaging in the criminal element.
All right, this is the entity that's engaged in that ongoing criminal system, and this is the same entity where they're doing so. It's not what they're doing only. That's clearly stalking. This is the grounds for it's not just an unreasonable nuisance. My video documentation and images is evidence which, again, a court that is not corrupt. The entity is relying on these corrupt courts to disregard anybody that would bring a suit against the state. You're not going to get justice. This is a matter of what is federal jurisdiction, okay? Because the government itself is engaging in the crime. In addition to that, the evidence of what I have against the entity stalking by helicopters in particular, that is evidence which rises to the level of civil and criminal prosecution. It's stalking. You're following from place to place, and it's an ongoing pattern amongst different police agencies in entirely different counties. Never mind the pattern of conduct that I'm showing the specific environment. The entity is engaging in this on an ongoing basis. So you're talking about, at the very least, civil prosecution. But again, the entity, what courthouse is going to entertain that? These are the entity that's protecting them. They're one entity. And by the way, no California Supreme Court that's making any recent rulings, pay attention to what's going on, seeking to, on the surface, reduce or remove some of the power of the law enforcement agencies, removing their ability to stop you because of you are avoiding to speak with them, and that doesn't provide them reasonable suspicion. I want to be clear, in the same way that this is the entity, this is an entity, this is highly malicious, and it is in no way speaking to or rebutting what I've shown you, which is a matter of public corruption. The entity that is engaging in what is the ability to create case law and remove or reduce the laws that these corrupt law enforcement agencies have to engage in what is a fiction in California. Probable cause of reasonable suspicion. It's a fiction. They're monitoring in the state of California nonetheless, but I want to be clear. The court is also in every way engaged in the P.O.C. For what you're looking at on the surface, the court has reduced the power of law enforcement agencies to stop somebody under reasonable suspicion. In the same way that they are able to do that through the court system and create some sort of reduction of power or authority, they do the same thing by increasing. All it is literally creating another case and doing the same thing. That is in no way removing or neutralizing the threat that is inherently present through this matter of public corruption that I'm exposing. And I want to be clear on that, because I read about that the other day with the California Supreme Court, and do not be fooled. And I'm in no way ignorant of the fact the whole entity is witnessing my exposure. So you can entertain whatever court cases you want. You can make it appear as though, we're not on the same team. We're limiting the police department's power. I mean, why would we do the pattern of conduct? The facts speak for themselves. The facts speak for themselves, independent of this federal prosecution, where you are inevitably surrounded by evidence showing exactly what it is that I've contended. Let me also point out what's common sense. That same court that is superficially reducing power is able to immediately increase that power. That's the threat of the corrupt entity. It's not in any way reducing it. They have the same power to reverse that, or another case coming in, and it turns in whatever favor that entity wants it to go in. Okay, so I just want to point that out as well. Anyway, it's currently 11:05 a.m. The entity is maintaining the light source until the end of the day, engaging in what is aiming light through my closed blinds in my bedroom. And then so it's in the opposite direction, but I'm going to give you the example. So after 6 p.m., the entity is keeping the light source in alignment to my bedroom, where it is also I've documented the sunrise and the sunset in my apartment. apartment. That's the POC, period. The entity is engaging what is aiming the light source through my bedroom window. And so we're just going to assume that this is my bedroom window. The blinds are closed. The entity is piercing what a magnified size of, like, for example, the blind slides you've seen in my apartment, magnified size of light appearing through my closed blinds. And the light is then appearing on the bedroom wall. You're looking at the sun, and then you've got on the same wall, the light source, the engineer light is appearing on my wall. It's entirely terrorizing. It's the same engineer light that you see appearing in the depths of my office. It's the same engineer light that's covering all of the property. It's the same engineer light that you see these state actors engaging with the Ontario Fire Department. That's a demon. Engaging in the same conduct that you saw that demon Universal Waste Systems engaging in. That you saw that demon driving the truck working for Nova Contractors, Inc. Engineer light moving underneath a vehicle. And I mean, it's in front. You're backing up and the engineer light is moving ahead of you underneath a vehicle. That's demonic and it's impossible light. It's the mark of the demon possessed. That's how you're going to know them. Okay. The light activity, and they're monitoring you. That engineered light is key. Everything that they're doing is centered around that engineered light environment. So this is the entity that's filling my space every day that I document that. That's the environment where the entity is engaged in hovering, stalking conduct, including in the workplace, doing so inside of my private space, which is a sex offense. You want to engage in criminal conduct with your teenager is going to be prosecuted as a group stalker, a violent sex offender, and that criminal record is going to follow that person, he or she. It's going to follow them. That's what they're doing. All right. And that's exactly what you are, keeping somebody under surveillance. So you're also under surveillance when you know that my panties are down and you're engaging in the criminal elements of monitoring. You're a whole sex offender and a demon possessed one. You are sick in the membrane, engaging in lying in wait conduct so that you can stalk in the path using your car, light activity, relevant positioning. That's surveillance, criminal surveillance with that entity. That's literally, providing evidence to the world of just flying in circles, doing back and forth over my office. These are the demon possessed, which will, in America, I want you to put, not only am I exposing to you what's going on in America, what's wrong with America, there is a condition of demon possession, okay? Satan has a lot of little puppets, okay? And this is what's, unfortunately, that's what's going on. But I want to be clear. I'm not just showing you the problem. I'm letting you know about the resolution, and it's coming, okay? They're going to be removed. Satan is fired. Satan is not permitted to work for the sheriff's department or in the courthouses or in law enforcement or in the medical field or all the areas where you can imagine this sort of psychotic, this ticking time bomb, exercising that sort of a power and authority, okay? Taking the lives of American citizens who in secret, nobody knows, okay? They're in that, I can see it in my mind. Like they're in their hospital room by themselves and something is happening to them. And then we're relying on what that medical professional is telling us. That medical profession is a demon and a group stalker. You don't even know that about them. Okay, so you're understanding what is necessary. And I'm not only showing you the problem, I'm showing you and I'm telling you about the resolution. And this is what's coming. All right, it is currently 11:09 a.m. and this is P.O.C.